Check it. This is your breakfast show. We're here in the morning. If you up now, it is the dawn, and we got the one and only Shazad on the mic, and Shane Rich is here. You know how we don't spite. And as Jacqueline's here, yo, bringing joy in the atmosphere, and Cat's on the sound. You know how we do. We don't go far because we're dropping down bars. Hey, 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 hey. All right, guys, look, guys, it's breakfast show time. You know how we do. We got that vibe, and we just want you to start your morning right. And today is a Father's Day special on the breakfast show. It's a Father's Day special. And just before we go into it, one more time, I just want to play that clip we played just before. Am I allowed?
Yes, you may.
Yeah, can I? Is it? Or am I playing it too much? Because I think
it hit.
I think Jordan hits home. All right, all right, just check it. Go,
It's okay to be a man.
It's not okay. It's necessary. What the hell are we going to do without men? You look around the city here, you see all these buildings go up. These men, they're doing impossible things. They're under the streets, working on the sewers. They're up on the power lines in the storms and the rain. They're keeping this impossible infrastructure functioning. This thing that works in a miraculous manner. They work themselves to death. And often, literally, the gratitude for that is sorely lacking, especially among the people who should be most grateful. You see university professors, especially of the social justice bent, they take everything they have for granted, failing to understand entirely that there's a massive infrastructure of unbelievably hardworking, solidly laboring, working-class men breaking themselves in half on a regular basis, making sure that everything that always breaks works.
It's okay.
Okay, making sure everything works. So now we're in this society where, men are going through challenges. Men have, got a bad rep in general in terms of a species, it would appear so, right? But Jordan, right there, he's kind of dropping it like it's hot. When we use our common sense and we look at how society's been built, it's been men doing things, doing jobs that nobody else would do, sacrificing so they can take bread back to their family. That's the other side of the token, and that's what we want to highlight today as we know Father's Day is coming up. Here's another interesting thing, as well as that, and with all the abuse that men, I would use the word, should I use the word abuse? Maybe that's a strong word, but criticism, like men have had. There's words like toxic masculinity and all these kind of things. Why? Because you're a man that wants to go ahead and achieve something. Men don't know, so they're men, young men don't even know where to place themselves, right? Men have been told to become even more feminine in their approach, because if they go and build something, they become told they're toxic.
It's become such a clash of cultures,
Yeah.
shall we say?
Yeah.
Because now you can't define what a woman is.
Yeah.
But you can define what a man is by just looking at the negative.
So there's a lot going on right now. There's a lot happening.
It's a lot.
So check this out. We've got some statistics here that I want to show to everybody. And basically says, this is from Priory. They've checked the statistics. And also, I forgot, the national statistics, NOS, right? But this is for 2000, okay? But it says here, 1,000 men, what they said about their mental health. And what this shows is that the biggest cause of mental health issues in men's lives are work pressure, right? 32%. Financial issues, 31%. Their health, 23%. But you can see that need to provide, that need to be at the forefront to make things happen. There's pressure. It's affecting mental health. 40% of men polled said it would take thoughts of suicide or self-harm to compel them to seek professional help. So now look at this to the right, just that 40% to the right. It says here, 40% have never spoken to anyone about their mental health. 29% are too embarrassed to speak about it. 20% say there is a negative stigma on the issue. And 77% say have suffered with symptoms of negative mental health. So there's 77% of men. I mean, they surveyed 1,000, but you'll find that that's a repetitive thing happening in different social structures, in social environments.
Yeah.
So men are not having it easy, 77%. Yes, in it.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Like, again, I've spoken about my own mental health and how I struggled. Literally the year my daughter was born during COVID and stuff like that. I literally couldn't talk to anyone, couldn't speak to anyone, couldn't embrace anything. The work pressure was there because we weren't working anymore. You know, the mentality of you have to be a provider for your child,
Yeah.
that hit you. And again, it goes so much deeper than that, because before that even came into play, we go to work and we don't come home and tell you what we go through. We don't
Yeah,
come home
it's true.
and tell you,
Yeah. Isn't
you
it?
know, what we're going through,
Yeah.
what our bad day was, because we don't want to burden you with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And then when we come with that to enlightenment to ourselves and be like, listen, you know, it's okay to say you're not okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay to say
Absolutely.
that. But then, oh, you're not a strong man for doing that. You're
Yeah.
acting more feminine, or you're not coming out of your shell the way you should. It becomes again, it's a negative stereotype, whereas a woman should embrace her emotions. She should be able to do what she needs to
But
do.
women do that anyway.
And then they
Yeah.
do
Right.
that. But then when a man who's been stigmatized in a society because of the culture, that
Or the
becomes a
current
different thing.
culture.
And
Yeah.
the problem is, it's the current culture has evolved to a point where you can't define things anymore.
Yeah.
And that thing about Shane, men not speaking, right? That, you know.
Yeah, I want to add to that. So I think I can relate to what you're saying. As men, we keep things bottled up, keep things in. We just get on with it.
Yeah.
Like, we're used to getting on with it. We're used to, you know, say, like, man up and do what you need to do.
Yeah.
But I think it's important for us to, if you have a partner, or if you have one of your friends, one of your boys,
Yeah.
to express what's going internally, what's happening. Or it could be about if your partner talking about your day,
Yeah.
releasing that.
Yeah.
If it's frustration
Yeah.
or it's a bit of pressure, it's important, I feel,
Yeah.
to talk about it, because you brought it up, and when you brought it up, at some point you're going to explode.
Yeah.
You explode.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have Nadine. Nadine, I think it's your first lady.
Yeah.
Wifey Nadine. There's good morning to you, Nadine. You're awesome. All right. Jeanette says, it has resonated, brother. I don't think, however, it would take away from the fact that men are still men. Yes, we need them, but as women need to change, men do too, especially those slack ones. Poor my friend Jeanette has no mercy, huh? Joshua, great to have you. That's-
Put it very good. Yeah.
Victoria, great to have you with us as well, sis. Now, we had a few thoughts there. Jacqueline, so, I mean, you know, we're saying there's, you know, these criticisms to men. I mean, what would you say are the mainstream criticisms that you believe men face from your perspective, right?
Yeah, I think there's quite a lot, and I think if we pay too much attention to what's going on, you can easily get lost. These statistics are done quite a while ago, so I think if it's done again recently,
That's right.
if you add on the impact that COVID has had on society,
Yeah.
you will find that the statistics will go through the roof.
It actually says that.
Yeah.
It actually says
It
that
will
in
go through
the sources,
and,
yeah.
and you see it even in the field that I work in. You see it. Sometimes it's like some men have lost their way. They don't know where to be. They don't know how to be. And I think it comes down to us as women as well in facilitating them back in society, if I can use that word, because a lot of them have lost their way.
Yeah.
Many of the men, in terms of parenting and being a parent and being a father, some of them are dealing with a lot of issues. Shane touched on, you know, we suppressing things, bottle things up. Some things have happened or rather occurred during their childhood,
Yeah.
and it impacted who they became as an adult. And because they suppressed it, then they carry that with them into a relationship,
Yeah.
and then a child comes into the mix, and the whole thing is now a different,
Yeah,
it takes a
dynamic.
different spin.
Yeah.
And then you still have to be a parent, you still have to be you still have to function, you still have to exist. But how do you dissect? And I think this is where we as women come in. You can guide and help that person, that spouse, your partner, your boyfriend to, you know, for me, I do it for every man in my life, whether it's a friend, my brother, my uncle, my auntie. I take responsibility. I take that very serious. So how I interact with them, I know that it affects how they will interact with other females. So if all women could have this at the back of their mind, that in itself is a big step.
Here's an interesting thing that came up earlier,
Yeah.
right? This is really powerful what you're saying,
Yeah.
because women naturally have a nurturing
Absolutely.
effect.
Yeah.
A nurturing effect. You know, we're looking at, you know, scripture.
Yeah.
You know, God looked at man, everything's perfect. This is good. That's good. That's good. That's good. And he looked at man, he says, it's not good,
It's not good.
for a man
Exactly.
to be alone.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
women have that nurturing effect, and
Yeah.
and if they have this understanding, it makes
Yeah.
everything good.
Absolutely.
You know, but
Absolutely.
nowadays it's like the way the conversation's happening in
Yep.
the mainstream.
Yep.
It's like they're competing against each other.
That's it. It's very unwise, in my opinion, because what is highlighted the most is the negative.
Mm-hmm.
And when the negative, the way society is like wherever everyone is going, that's where everybody's going.
Without thinking.
Without stopping to think. I tell my kids, even recently, my princess had a trip, and the brother came to speak to her before she walked out of the door, and he said, my son is 19, my daughter is 9, and he said to the sister, says, whatever you do, make sure you're present. And I was like, she's 9 years old, can you please break it down? And I gave him the look, and he knows, and he says, Mom, she understands. And he asked her, sis, what does that mean? And she explained and I was shocked.
Wow.
But because I've encouraged that kind of parenting, I
Yeah.
don't parent her alone. I said, you play a role. You are her brother. You are you and her dad. You are the first male that she has in her life. So be intentional, be present, and make sure that whatever you do, however small, you do it well. So I was surprised when he spoke to her, and I said, you need to break it down. Can you please? And he said, she understands, Mom, because there's been that consistency. That's why.
Yeah.
So it's not just us focusing on the negative, what's happening, because that we'll see a lot, I think. We
Yeah.
will see. And it gets highlighted a lot.
Yeah.
But the positive things are not highlighted. And if we can take a bit of attention from the negative and celebrate the positive, I think there'll be a dynamic shift.
Yeah.
And that way we'll be more than we'll add value to the men in our society, and therefore they will serve us better.
Absolutely.
That's how I think.
I love that. That is absolutely
Yeah.
powerful. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, obviously we know that men's mental health are more affected than women's mental health.
Yeah.
The statistics show that, right? I mean, you had personal experience, and I think as guy, I think everybody's been through situations in their mental health where, you know,
Oh, yeah.
you had better
Yeah.
days and worse days, but it seems like overall men seem to have it worse because we don't normally outlet, right?
Yeah.
But also I think even the way that young men grow up in terms of our environments,
Yeah.
right? We don't get environments like you said about how
Yeah.
you're nurturing. For your son to say about being present,
Yeah.
those are quality words. Those are quality instructions that have
Yeah.
been put into
Yeah.
the young man.
Yeah.
But usually men, we don't normally get that, do we?
Yeah.
We again, the problem is that it comes down to the parenting,
Yeah.
which is the key thing. Like,
Yeah.
you have to have a male role model and a female role model.
Yeah.
And the mother's always going to be nurturing. The mother's always going to be there.
Yeah.
But the men are there to set examples. And,
That's true.
And the fact of the matter is, you've embraced that role
Yeah.
with both,
Yeah.
and you've embraced that and said, look, you have to, as a brother, because I went through the same thing.
Yeah.
I was the father figure to my sisters.
Wow.
And I was the one who said, like, very early on,
That's
I said,
amazing.
I'm not going to look at a relationship or marriage for myself
Yeah.
until my sister's married. 'Cause
Hey.
that was the first thing that was put
That's
into
amazing.
me.
The vow,
Yeah,
wow.
that
That
was
is-
the
yeah,
first
that's
thing put
powerful.
into
It's deep.
me.
Yep.
Because, you know, we grew up protected. We grew up, you know.
Yeah,
being-
what made you think like that?
Oh,
Because I'm curious, because if you grew up in a single parent household,
Yeah,
that's
Yeah,
interesting.
That's
I came
Yeah.
from a Muslim background,
okay.
but my family, from my biological father, my stepfather, and the other men that have come and gone in my life, have all been very, very abusive. So I, being the firstborn male, instinct from day dot, 3 years old, standing in front of my dad before he shot, you know, in front of a gun, with my biological father, my stepdad when he used to do stuff to my mom, stepping up then,
Yeah.
and I said, and my mindset just at 12 years old, my mindset was, your
had to-
naturally instinct is to protect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which again, it's that culture of manhood. We naturally have that
yeah,
inserted
yeah.
inside of us
It's wired in.
of we're protected and we're providers.
Yeah.
So at 16, when I started working for myself, providing,
Wow.
everyone was saying to me at 16 years old, because again, Muslim culture,
Yeah.
you know, get yourself ready for marriage. And I said, no, first thing I'm going to do before anything else, I've got a sister 2 years younger than me. Until she's married, I'm not going to get married.
See, that's instinct.
I knew that
Yeah.
because I've seen what happened to my mom. I saw what happened to my aunties and uncles. I've seen that detail.
Yeah.
But the thing that was, it's so bestowed inside of me to say, don't even have a relationship, have girlfriends, but tell
Yeah.
them, look, I ain't getting married
Yeah, getting married until, yeah.
she's married.
That's really deep.
That was literally one of the foundations that I was brought up on. And now, like my relationship with my partner, my relationship with my daughter, I have daddy-daughter dates. So I teach her,
Fantastic.
and she's 3 years old,
There you
and
go,
we'll go
yeah.
out and be like,
Yeah.
okay, so daddy has to say this, and then we say, what do we say? Amen, amen,
Yeah.
and we work together, and we
at that.
do this, and
Yeah.
don't let anyone say this to you. It's the same role from when I was 12 years old.
Exactly. It's
Now,
just you're transferring
But
that.
it's that
Yeah.
teaching from
Yeah.
the mistakes
Author
we've
of-
made,
yeah.
the
Yeah.
author of love,
Yeah.
the fact that God gave us that presence to say, do you know what? You know exactly what to do
Yeah.
Yeah.
because you've lived it,
Yep.
but you're not going to allow this to suffer again.
That's it. Yeah.
And that itself was so powerful.
It is powerful. Yeah.
We have some
Absolutely.
comments here. I'm coming to
Yeah.
you, Shane. Jeanette says it's not good for man to be alone, but they sometimes spread themselves too thin when they share themselves with numerous women. I'm not bitter. Hashtag say it as it is. Auntie Jeanette is in the house.
Auntie Jeanette, we love you.
Amen, Shazad. Victoria, that's deep, Shazad. Anika, deep retro guy. Yeah, so, you know, I mean, Shane, a man that is not fully complete inside, I mean, what kind of challenges, you know, can he bring to the table? Because we know about the value they bring, but also the challenges that men do, because human beings can set things on fire.
A man that's not fully complete. Someone touched base on childhood. You did childhood
Yeah.
as well, and I've witnessed things in my childhood from my father or other men that, as I got older, I said I wouldn't do. I wouldn't do, whether it was abusive verbally or physically, messing around, and so on and so on. And even though you see that as an example, even though you see that example and you say that's not what I want to do, unfortunately sometimes you still end up
Yeah.
doing it. And I found myself in that circle. And it was toxic.
Yeah.
It was toxic. So I think one has to have an introspective in themselves sometimes. That I think some men don't do that enough.
Yeah.
I want to have an introspective. I look within. How can I be a role model for my son, for my daughters, and not allow them to witness what I witnessed.
Yeah.
So like if I grew up in a culture where smoking was norm. It was norm. But it's like if I want my son to be an example like me, I need to set that example. If I'm gonna smoke, he naturally would want to smoke anyway because it's my parents do it. What's wrong with it?
Yeah.
It's a cultural thing.
Yeah, we don't think like that, isn't it? Because usually a man, like we said earlier, is go-getter, get things done. But that moment of introspective, men, it's few and far between. Do you know what I mean? If we do, it's probably when we're laying our head to sleep with it and we just like probably feeling sorry for ourselves for the things we're setting on fire or justification, right? But they're introspective to see, okay, what can I do better? Because you find that when men have that moment, and if they've got the right support around them, brilliance comes out. Things change. Innovation takes place. The ability to create innovation for change has always been inside of the man, but there has to be that moment of introspective reflection, and the support to get the right things out of the individual. You know, so that's huge. That's really huge.
Because we all have it within us. We
Yeah.
all have a potential and a gift to lead by example, to be role models, etc. And that's what it's about, you know. I've taken a bit from everyone in my life experience. Like, when I say family-wise, you know, I like that. I like the way he conducts his love life. I like the way he financially is astute and so on and so on. And you take what's positive and you leave the negative.
It's true.
Inside.
And you know, and a key thing about the author of love, because we can just get good information and put it into practice, but the author of love changes our inner structure, our inner being, you know? Because, for example, it's easy to like get good information. I'm going to be a good person for the next few days. But then a month, 2 months, after a year, if our old self hasn't been changed, our old self, our old trauma hasn't been changed, or that side of us hasn't been removed and changed, then guess what? We start dipping back, right?
100%. 100%. Like, is the whole fact about not being complete can be the biggest change in someone, because you have to be complete to have a foundation to stand on.
100%.
If you don't have a foundation to stand on, then the thing that Shane said, which is very true, which is you pick things up from everyone.
Yeah.
The minute you don't have a strong foundation, you will let that bad habit that you thought might be a good habit
Yeah.
into your mind,
Yeah.
into your workspace, into your environment, and you start doing things in the wrong way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you won't realize you're doing
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
because it was taught to you subliminally
Yeah.
as you grew up.
Absolutely.
And that's the one thing we have to address.
And men are powerful forces to be reckoned with, my friend.
No,
For the
absolutely.
positive and negative. We have a question here from Gabriella. Gabriella says, "Can you explain what being present means?"
Oh wow. Oh wow.
I know. Go on.
Wow. So it's you know, sometimes you have cases where you have you could be even in a two-parent home, but let's say the mom and dad, the parents are there. Even us parents, we do, because
Yeah.
me, it's, especially when it comes to myself, as ambitious as I am, there's been times where the Holy Spirit was like, you need to calm down, because it's like I'm like on
Yeah.
the go. So I'm there, but then I'm not present.
Yeah.
I'm there, but my
Physically
mind,
speaking.
yeah, exactly. My mind is elsewhere. I'm all over the place. I'm thinking about this. I'm not prioritizing. I'm not giving time. And therefore, I'm also missing. I'm not enjoying.
Yeah.
That's a lot of parents. They're bitter because they're parenting as if it's, I have to do this. I have to do this. I don't parent my kids like this. I tell them, I chose to have you guys.
That's
if I didn't
right.
want to have you, you wouldn't be here.
That's right.
So I really embrace that, and I tell them, I said, you're not here by accident, and of course they're also there's a purpose why they were here. They were created, and they have to serve. And my role as a guardian, as a steward, is to guide them into fulfilling that purpose. It's not necessary for them to carry out what I want, like how my mom and her generation, how they parent. You have to do what I tell you to do. You have to be this. No. I am aware that I am just a guide. I'm guiding them to
Yeah.
live, to fulfill their purpose, but I must be present to
Yeah.
ensure that I understand what their needs are. Can I meet their needs? If I can't, can I seek help elsewhere?
Yeah.
And also having the substance, when Shane was speaking about when you pick up things from other people, and Shazad as well was highlighting that when you don't know yourself, when you are not enough yourself, whatever you pick up has no substance to stick to. It will literally wash off you. Many
That's a soundbite.
people, many people read, even some of the workshops that I'm working on, interacting with parents, I speak and they're just like, wow. And I'm just like, that's basic.
Yeah.
But what I realized as well, even as Shazad was speaking, is when you have that substance, that's what makes everything stick.
So whether you're a
And
man or
therefore,
Yeah.
it impacts how you interact and your output as well.
So whether you're a man or a woman,
Yep.
one thing is the two work together.
Yep.
But we each have an individual
That's right.
responsibility
Yep.
to work on developing ourselves
Yeah, very
internally.
important. Yeah.
We have we don't stop developing once we leave school.
No.
It
From
continues.
the moment even before you're born,
Yeah.
while you're in the womb, it's a process.
Yeah.
You're not going to be in the same environment. I tell the kids, you keep moving. You stop moving, you die. Keep moving.
You guys are not easy.
No. They know me. But it's for their own good, because you are not going to stay in that position forever. And a lot
That's
of people
right.
are also very comfortable. You're parenting from a very comfortable, you have to be willing to be challenged, to be better, because the times that we're in,
Yeah. Especially because we think that our
Goodness.
parents' parenting skills, they can
Yeah.
still work in 2023.
no. No disrespect to them.
Newsflash.
Disrespect.
No disrespect.
I remember when Kyle was a baby and like she was there, she was doing something, and I said, you know what, let me test the eyes thing. So I was like,
She's like,
and she's like,
what's wrong with your eye?
and I'm like, and she's like, what's that, Daddy? I'm like, oh, look, I'm gonna have to get the belt.
Yeah.
She didn't understand. I was like, thank
Yeah.
God, in a way.
Yeah.
We got some comments here. We have Dion, Planet from Plus, said that's powerful, Shazad. Dion from Croydon, very strong, Shane. Angula Amon says it's true, but we need to understand that what the Bible says, a man, not a boy, and men must be men. Of decision and of his words. Absolutely.
true.
Dion
Yeah.
continues, my father was always a strong male model. It was a strict upbringing. However, it was a lot of love. What resonated was respect one another.
Yeah.
Never see color and be a leader, not a follower.
Oh, wow.
Angola also connected. Angola says connected from Namibia. Dion says, my parents created such a strong foundation of respect in our household. That is what is lacking today's society, honoring one's father and mother. Everything stems from a child's upbringing. True that. We've got some comments here on the WhatsApp line. We've got Mercy from Cardiff. Let's see you, Mercy.
I agree with Miss Drucker's point 100%. I think it's very detrimental for parents to allow society to give their young boys their identity instead of it coming from them, especially when society has so many different agendas nowadays. And I'm just really thankful I was born in 98 because I think that was the last year of sanity. But in terms of socialization, even in the VYG, you know, this is exam season, so the pressure is up. You know, they're making big decisions about their future, their career paths. And you will go up to them and you'll ask them, how are you coping? Like, how's revision going? And they're like, yeah, I'm good, I got this. But really and truly, you can see in their demeanor that they're stressed, that, you know, the pressure is getting to them a little bit. They're worried, you know. They're thinking, I need to be that provider. I need to be that person. I need to have everything under control. And, you know, it's unfortunate because these are the same boys that will take that same mentality into adulthood. And unfortunately, a lot of the statistics about suicide and not knowing how to cope with these pressures is the same way they handle the pressures of when they were younger and they were in school as well. So I think it's definitely something that needs to change.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Very good.
There need to be, I think there does need to be some social change, but to be honest with you, it starts in the home.
Yeah.
It
There
really
you
starts
go.
in the home.
Spot on.
Yeah, for me in the home, like
Yeah.
the going back to the eye thing.
Spot on.
My kids know that eye. They know that eye look. For me, respect is everything. Like respect your elders. Even getting on for example, getting on the bus and you're rushing in front of your elders. I would put my kids in their place and be like, no, elders first. Those things are foundation to our upbringing.
Absolutely.
Respect.
Strong things. We've got Chanel McKenzie. Let's hear you, Chanel.
Good morning, Breakfast Show. So I was listening to all of your messages, the messages on the show today, and it is so inspiring, and it is so true because for me, I have 5 brothers, 5 younger brothers, and I remembered like growing up with them since they were small and having to look after them and having to be a role model to them. And it came to a point that when they became a teenager and up until their adult age, every time they wanted advice on women, they would come to me. And I remember even one of them saying to me that, you know, they see me as a female example figure. And some of them even said that they would, if they marry a woman, they hope to have my personality. So every time they want advice about women, they always come to me. And it made me realize that in order for them to be a male example to other women, I also have to be the example to them as well. And they've mentioned this on a few occasions, so I totally agree with you guys. Anyway, have a good day, and I'll see you around. Take care. Bye.
Sounds lovely, isn't it? See, everybody has their role to play.
Absolutely.
It's not about one fighting against the
it's
other.
not,
You gotta come together. There's a purpose for each for a man and a woman to play, and when it works in harmony, works in matrimony, it's perfect.
It's beautiful.
So don't forget, don't buy into these social norms, because if you're not careful, you're just wrecking your whole life. and people and person and children that come after. Here we go. This one's coming straight from Namibia. Let's hear you, Victoria.
Good morning, Breakfast Show. Sorry for my voice. I got some flu, but I just want also to contribute on the topic of this mental health for men. I think the most thing that we see like here in Africa is the challenges of men trying to prove that they are still men. And in the society that we are living in today, it has more women that are going out there and doing things that men used to do back then. And now men, they find themselves under this pressure to rise above the bar that the women are putting in. Even if they are not demanding, the fact that they are men, they feel like they need to go beyond what women are providing or what they are capable of doing. And so the pressure, if they feel like they can't go over that, it's just too much. And I don't know, it's just a competition in the mind that I'm a man and I cannot be overpowered by women or something like that. That's now overworked themselves just to prove.
Yeah, social pressure.
She hit one very great point, which is about how women are going out there to try to do what men do, not doing what men can do, but trying to do what men can do. And then men then have to compete with that person's mentality of, if you're trying to compete with me, it doesn't mean you're better than me, doesn't mean you're weaker than me, this, that, the other. It just means you're putting more pressure on me to be myself, because you're putting more pressure on yourself to compete. And that's
no one wins.
That's where, again, that's where now you could look at any workplace you look at, and I can't say there's one job that one person could do better than the other, because everyone has their own skills and talents.
Absolutely.
But there's different ways to approach that task. And there's some things that men, we just get on with it because sometimes we don't look at the fear factor in it, and we just get onto it.
Yeah, Jacqueline, your thoughts?
100%. I think the other thing as well, she touched on the pressure on the men to, because now it's not even the men. I think it's the way society responds, and it's a very dangerous game, if I have to say. It's a dangerous game that is being played before our eyes. Most of the times it's done for they have other plans and whatnot, but it's actually dangerous to the human race, because they put it out there, they present it, and then the man naturally goes into this mode of, oh, so you're trying to challenge me, I think. So I'm going to prove to you that I am better. But man doesn't need to do that, because then that, I think it derails him from his purpose. Am I right? Because then instead of everybody can, one thing I think we're missing is that we need to learn that we are enough. We are enough. And if you are enough within yourself, you know what, this is what I can do with what I have, but you do it very well, it makes a difference. And then gradually you will attain more skills, whatever you need to be able to do better. That's why many of us, we were not born in this country. I was not born in this country. I didn't plan to come to this country, even though I spoke it, but I live here now. So I face different challenges, and I do things differently because of also the environment where I am, the way I'm parenting and so forth. And a lot of things I've acquired along the way has come as a result of my need for those things. But when man is challenged with malice, I think that's also added. It pushes the man into overdrive, and then it just, the results, it's pointless.
And I think one of the key words that came up...
we can challenge men in a different way.
Yes.
In a more positive way.
That's right.
I think that way of challenging men is not positive.
But you need to have that within you first as a woman.
It starts with with the individual.
Because imagine if the roles are obscured. And what you're doing, which is your role as a woman, but because you listen to the mainstream media, you have resentment for your role. Right? You have resentment. So anything you do is resentment. Anything the man does, there's resentment. When you speak to the child about the man, you speak with resentment. So right now, as a nurturer, we're nurturing something, but we're not nurturing something that builds.
Positive. Thank you. 100%.
And that's what I think sometimes
100%.
some women might forget, that they are nurturers and they have that gift and ability to nurture men in the right direction as well. They can put us in two ways. They can nurture with that love, that care, and make that guy understand his potential and make him, because I think that they say behind every good man is a good woman. But then also they can do the opposite.
Shane's just hit a very good point there, because I can look at the social structures at the moment. You get women who are so ambitious. They're like, I want a man who earns this much. I want a man who drives this. I want a man who owns this.
6 figures, right?
But then you're not giving the man the opportunity to do that with you. So what type of environment are you building? And this also affects our children. This also affects, because the way we were brought up, we were outside running around, mucking amok, doing what we need to do.
Didn't have
now,
much.
The kids have tablets before they even leave the pram.
Thank you.
And now what happens is the way we have to parent things have become so different that the foundation that we try to set can be destroyed by just 60 seconds on the internet.
Absolutely.
100%. Yeah.
So here's an interesting thing, right? Because we're talking about roles, right? It's Father's Day coming up. So fathers know that they bring discipline, right? They bring structure and order to our home, right? Women are nurturers and they're carers, right? Now, supposing if children are seeing something different, supposing children are seeing a resentful woman about her role, and a tired man, not bothered to be a man, because he's gonna park himself. He's like, it's too much work, man. Let me just park. You know what I'm saying? So. But we instinctively we want what's best for the next generation.
Yeah.
As parents, you instinctively want what's good. Even when you was having your mental health crisis back in the day, and whenever the intention is good. Any person who's setting things on fire in their house or family, they want the best.
Absolutely.
But we only produce what is inside of us. We can only transmit what we have inside. Jeanette says Jeanette says, when we say it takes a village, exactly, to raise a child, isn't it? Sinead says, good morning. Mercy, what's Mercy saying there, Shazad?
Mercy saying young boys need to understand that there are more emotional reactions than just agendas.
Just anger.
Just anger. But this is taught and
nurtured. But a man that is emotionally healed and mature.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Because women are more emotional, right?
Yeah.
So guess what? She's going to be quick to raise her voice.
Yeah.
Men, if the man's okay, right? He's going to be a bit more, very, stern with his voice.
Yeah.
Authority. But if that is not there, the children do not know how to use dialogue to speak well. They will just react with emotion. Boys will react, they're children anyway, but they will just know to react to his emotion as a way to solve problems or to go and counteract something they don't like.
Can I just ask a question on something you just said, which is very true? But I want to ask this question to everyone in the room. When you see a child who literally sees a father figure not live up to the expectation as a father figure, but then you see the woman bad-mouthing the man, what do you think is going to affect the child's upbringing and their mentality? So what do you think, Shane? What do you think is going to happen in that scenario?
Well, I'll go the bad mouthing of the parent. I mean, sometimes you're going to look at that person with negative eyes, in a negative perspective all the time. Sometimes and not even see or value the good things, because it's always being focal. You're always pointing at the negative. And the father obviously not living up to that role, then there's going to be unbalance.
Because already you've got an issue, right? And so there's no win, because imagine the nurturer is there to actually turn it around, but using the words to flatten the tire. Jacqueline, you have actually a very important example concerning this particular situation, right?
I think in those situations it's very important. It's dangerous. The outcome could be very, very detrimental for that child. And that's not just, you're not wrecking just that child, the generations to come. Because we are like a hard drive. When something is wrong, you don't keep on, adding new things, new files. You have to first, sometimes you have to clean it up. You have to delete certain things. So there's a lot of things that we carry from our childhood. And even with that, you're realizing you end up speaking certain things, you end up doing certain things because you yourself, that's why a lot of the times when these things happen, even I say this to many of the parents, I say, once you've gone through difficult times, whatever, breakup, whatever, take time to heal. Heal yourself, because if you don't, believe it or not, it's going to come up. It will come up. It will come up. It will seep into your children, in everything that you are doing. So heal yourself, because when you do that, you are able to speak about, no matter how negative the situation is, you will be able to speak positive about it, and therefore you're changing the dynamics. There will be a shift, but it's a positive shift. And that child, regardless, I have a situation where I don't badmouth my kids' fathers. I don't. To the point that my youngest said to me, Mom, it's really nice, when you pray for daddy, you bless him, you do this. And I didn't realize me speaking it out loud was making a difference. So she's seeing the difference. And there's a reason why she said what she said. So I don't badmouth them. Even some of the things that, my son is finding out about the dad, and he's just like, Mom, I'm so glad, because I made it my mission. I was intentional not to go and say, he will figure it out.
See, sometimes we don't realize as parents that they are the best recorders. They are watching, they are listening when we think that they're not. And they're not just watching what's happening around in front of your eyes, they're watching us.
There you go.
We forget they're watching us.
There you go.
It's the key thing where the reason why I asked that question was because a lot of people listening to the show today will have an idea of what their mama is, what their dad is, and you gave the perfect example there of how you speak about their dad, how you speak about their presence with that, because what a lot of people are doing now is they assume they're already grown because they're mirrors of their mum and dad. They are mirrors of their mum and dad.
yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is that you may not accept this knowledge, you may not accept this understanding, but it's something that I knew from back in VYG days till now.
Yeah.
That is, whatever you're reflecting
Yeah.
is exactly what's around you, your
This is,
environment, everything around you. You're the reflection of that.
Yeah.
So until you reflect God, and until you take those teachings and understandings and place them inside yourself, you will no longer be a mirror, but you'll be the example for other people to look towards.
100%.
And that really makes a big difference.
Yeah,
All right,
that's
guys,
powerful.
we have gone
Wow.
over time. Thank you so much
Oh
for
my
that, Shazad. Thank you
gosh.
so much for
Wow,
that,
wow, wow.
Shane.
Yeah.
Guys, this has been a Father's Day special. I just want to give a round of applause for that, guys. You guys are
Absolutely.
awesome. Yeah, open. Yeah. Look, you know, this is it, and I think one of the key things I want you to finish up, Jacqueline. All right, with something, but yeah, just if you just can give a last word to all the men out there,
Yep.
what would you like to say to them?
Well, one thing I'll say is this. First of all, thank you very much for your service. Thank you. You know, you took on a role, some of you didn't even ask for it, but it's wired in you and you have embraced it and you face countless challenges. Sometimes you're afraid. Sometimes you can't even speak your fears because there's no space for you to speak those fears. But we see you, and rest assured that your children will go out there and amplify the goodness that is within you. So fear not. It's okay sometimes to be afraid. It's okay sometimes to not know what to do. It's okay sometimes to be confused. It's fine. But know that you matter and the role you play in society matters. Let nobody deceive you. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to mess up, because when you get up, it will be greater. Happy Father's Day to all of you, dads, stepdads, aunts, uncles, and granddads, and neighbors, and teachers, and whoever. Happy Father's Day. Keep parenting and enjoy the journey.
Guys,
That's
that's it. Yeah, thank you. All right, guys. So look, guys, thank you all for joining us today. And on that note, I think we can properly wrap up. But just men, this is it. You are, like she said it all. I don't need to add anything more to that.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
But like, let's just go out there and win. And you know, if you are a man having trouble right now, maybe you're going through issues, you know that you know what you're meant to be. In your mind, you know what we're meant to be.
Yeah.
But there's stuff happening on the inside.
Yeah.
We have our UCKG help centers dotted around the world, dotted around the planet, which help me as a man, which help Shazad as a man, which help Shane as a man.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It doesn't matter how crazy a situation can be. It doesn't matter how lost the situation can be. Once we start working at the source within, because the power is there within you. You're a man. You've got the power to make things work, right? But sometimes we need that help. So we have our help centers. If you would like to give us a call, our helpline is open 24 hours a day. The number is DJ Katz.
It is 020768666000.
Say it again.
020768666000.
All right, and if you know a man that needs some support, you know a man that needs help, invite him to one of our help centers. Visit uckg.org to find our nearest branch wherever you're around the world. All right, it's there. Yes, Jacqueline.
Oh yeah, and this Sunday there will be a special prayer, a blessing for all men or fathers. So if anybody, you know, anyone, someone who represents a father figure in your life, and you want to give them a gift, bring them along this Sunday. Let them receive that blessing to be empowered to continue being great in your life.
All right, other than that, man, I'm just glad this program worked, man. I ain't know how it's going to go through, but you just bring the right people down, man. Everything does work for good. But guys, I want to thank you all for joining me this morning. Shane, Shazad, Jacqueline, you guys have been absolutely awesome. Thank you, Kat, for being an awesome lady of sound. All right, yep. All right. And if you want to follow all the Liberty Radio antics, so this is a breakfast show sponsored by a help center on the Liberty Radio platform. Make sure you go to Instagram and visit Liberty Radio, official Liberty Radio on Instagram, so you can always get the updates on other programs that's happening on Liberty. And if you find out what crazy things I'm up to, just go to Robust Life. You know, on Instagram, you just see you're gonna see gardening, you're gonna see me in the program, you're gonna see all kinds of crazy stuff. All right, I'm changing my life, Shazad. I'm changing. You know, I'm changing.
100%.
Little by little, I'm working on myself incrementally, like we learned today. incrementally.
Yes.
Right.
Lovely.
Oh gosh. Okay. Just gonna finish up now because I don't want to waste these. Auntie Jeanette says like this: be present. Do you know why that's such a key principle? Because no matter what happens, no matter what you go through, when you are present, you put things into perspective.
That's right. Yeah.
We are Shaka.
That's it.
Someone screen
Yeah.
grab that, please. Screen grab and send to the Breakfast Show WhatsApp line. Jeanette says, and you somehow know how to deal with the situation. Dion says, Jeanette, powerful. Guys, God bless you. 10 o'clock, we're going to have another program called Reconnect. 12 days, so raise an hour. Thank you for joining us. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. And I hope to see you. You can make a song. And I hope to see you on the Breakfast Show. I hope to see you on Sunday on the Help Center. Other than that, Jacqueline brought some goodies for us. We're gonna enjoy it because we don't normally have me and Kathleen. We're just dry here normally. Just
No, not today.
dry and love in our heart.
Not today.
Right? You know, in a cat. But today we've got all this stuff going down. We're gonna eat and then guys. Until tomorrow we'll be back again. Breakfast shows. Stay Breakfast Show time 7 a.m. Breakfast channel. UK. I've spoken. Until next time. Ciao for now. Forward
Ciao,
camera.
people.
Clap your hands.
See you
Wave
later.
goodbye. Farewell. God bless you. God bless you. Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. Yes.
I want to tell you. You gotta cut the camera now.